Let me show you what a solar flare is first right here on our touch screen. Basically, it is a huge explosion in the sun's atmosphere that can have the bang of up to 100 million hydrogen bombs. Now, take a look at this great video from NASA, too. You can see that burst of energy all around the sun that occurred on Valentine's Day and was the most powerful flare the sun has emitted in the last 4 years. Now, this right here is a close-up. It's from NASA, and it shows the flare coming out of the southern hemisphere of the sun. And this explosion should just be the first of many in 2011. This year, the sun is actually headed into the peak of its 11-year activity cycle, and that could mean some bad news for us here on Earth as we get way more charged particles from the sun hitting the Earth, especially if you have a cell phone, take flights, or use electricity. So pretty much all of us here are going to feel this brunt. Now, earlier, I spoke with the head of space weather here at the Hong Kong Meteorological Society about the potential damage. He told me that transformers in electricity grids could short circuit and explode because of solar flares. That's because most transformers are connected in series. So if one transformer blows, then the whole chain of transformers could blow, and that means cities could be in the dark for months while repairs are happening. Now, as for our phones, a solar flare could also short-circuit communications satellites, potentially knocking out cell phones and texting. Now think about this. The last time we had a solar maximum was in 2000. Since then, we've come to rely on our technology much, much more. Andrew?
A world without cell phones. Interesting. Some people quite like that, Rami. But, fair point. I mean, obviously, electricity, cell phones. What about air travellers? Is it going to impact on plane travel?
You know, that's a good question. For frequent flyers especially, they will be affected. A solar flare actually would give you a very unhealthy dose of X-rays. The February flare we just had actually caused flight diversions away from the North and the South Poles. The atmosphere is actually thinner up there in those higher latitudes. That means less protection for passengers. Also, flight diversions mean longer trips around the equator and higher fuel consumptions, which mean higher costs that will probably be passed on to you, the consumer.